Hello, folks. Today, what I'm going to talk to you about is maintenance for your baskets. Um, your baskets are going to produce all summer long and into the fall. So let's go ahead and take care of them now. So as the summer rolls on, they just get more beautiful and more vibrant. So here's a basket that doesn't need a lot of work to it. The occasional deadhead. Petunias are really great at self-deadheading themselves, especially in our windy environment. For the most part, they don't need to be manually deadheaded. It happens by itself. So this is a nice, full, rounded basket um, that doesn't need a lot of care. Digging through inside of it, I see that all our leaves are an even green. I don't have any yellowing in the center. Doesn't look like I have any mold issues. Don't have any insect pressure. This is a good, healthy basket. A little bit of deadheading and probably another shot of some fertilizer, and this basket's ready to go back on the wall. So that's a good, healthy basket with no issues in it. But this other basket, which is the same color spectrum, same variety, same everything, it's a little sad. Okay? So, being the exact same flowers as this one to this one, we have a little bit of an issue. So let's dive inside this one and see if we can't find out what that issue is. So first, I'm going to go clear down to the soil. I'm going to see if I got any mold issues or anything abnormal in the soil. I don't see anything down there. All looks good and clean. Damp soil, not dripping wet, definitely not dried out. You can tell by the weight. Hanging baskets should be watered thoroughly in our area daily. You can maybe skip a day, but it's really easy to go underneath your hanging basket and lift it up to find out how light it is. Baskets usually drain all of their water out, and even by this time of the year, they're starting to get kind of pot bound. Let's see what pot bound is real quick. All right, so here's a petunia that we're not going to sell. This is probably going to hit the compost very soon. It's straggly and leggy. Why is it leggy? Because of that. It's pot bound. It's root bound. So all those roots are in that pot and they're growing round and round. And if we were to tease these roots out, we'd find out how long they are. So if I were to plant this still, I would come in with a pair of small pruners. I like these small Fiskars. And I don't even know what brand this is. Corona? That's funny. These little Corona ones. They have this little finger ring in it. I like the finger ring one because I can palm it and I can work on a plant and spin it around and still have my trimmer without having to set it down and pick it up all the time. But it's not very big. So I'd take a plant like this and I would come in at an angle and just cut those roots one big chomp right down the center. Now, a lot of folks would want to crunch it and tease it and unwind it, but if you think about cutting it on all four sides of the pot like that, you've severed all those roots, okay? So that plant's going to shed all those cut roots, and it's going to loosen that ball up. And what that's going to do, instead of going into survival mode and just pushing out leggy plants with flowers on them, it's going to go back to building roots. So once that's planted, I'm going to plant it and I'm going to leave it for 7 to 10 days. I'm going to let that root ball acclimate to just being transplant shocked and having that root ball beat up. So I'm going to come back after a week and I'm going to take every one of these. Never trim a plant more than half. So I'm going to take all these, which are about 16 inches, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut about 7 to 8 inches off of them. So obviously we've gone now to a kind of an ugly little plant with no flowers, but I guarantee we've got a lot of summer left, in just a couple short weeks, this is going to fill out and completely fill full of blooms again. So not all's lost with a leggy plant. Now let's go back to the basket. So like I said, these two baskets were made by us at the exact same time. One just went super leggy. I don't know why. I might see if I can find out and I'll let you know. But going back to inspecting it, the soil looks good, looks moist. I don't see any yellow leaves. I don't see any leaves that show any issue. I see no bug pressure. Except for the legginess, I see a nice, clean, healthy plant. So we're going to go around. We have a lot of summer left. This sounds horrible. Memorial weekend's over, so showing off our plants there is over. We've got a while till 4th of July, and other times we've got a whole summer left. So don't worry about taking off 8 to 10 inches of your plant all the way around. Sometimes you just got to commit and go for it. And you're cutting off a lot of blooms. I absolutely understand that. But I will mark these two baskets and we will revisit them. And I bet you this basket comes back thicker and fuller than that first basket I showed you. So there isn't a right way or a wrong way to prune these. Some folks will say aim for above the node so it can split out at that node. But when you're talking 50 or 60 stems, that can take a while. So I just grab a handful, visualize where halfway is, and just cut away. Yeah, it's going to be a little ugly. It's going to be a little shaggy looking, but leaving it leggy like that isn't going to make a full, beautiful plant come midsummer. So we just need to help them out, cut them back, because every place you cut, that stem is going to divide and shoot out 2 or 3 runners from there to give that fuller look. The other thing this plant lacked of is getting rotated. This side was up against the house. This side is away from the house. So you have a flat side. We even had that on this plant. Here is the house side. So that side's been up against the house. So it's also a good thing to rotate your flowers every once in a while. So when you take them down to deadhead them, check them out, see what they look like, spin them around. So now when I prune these, I may end up spinning this pot 5 or 6 times. I really can't do it in one trimming. I may find ones I missed, ones I wanted to cut in a different place. So it just takes me about 3-4 times, spin it around, take out some verticals to promote some thicker verticals so they grow up and hide the hook. I'm also not going to fertilize it right now either. It just went through a pretty traumatic thing for itself. So I look at it as I don't want to eat when I'm injured or sick. So I'm not going to make the plant do it either. So I'm going to trim this, give it 7 to 10 days. Then I'm going to give it a feeding. That looks better. So there you go. We're taking that leggy plant, one that looks like this, and right now it looks like this. But we're going to get rid of that legginess, and this will all fill up with flowers. So it's that time of the year. Don't be afraid to grab your flowering plants, trim them back. They'll pay you tenfold later on this summer. You just got to commit. You got to go for it. Have a good day.